when you think of Bill Russell, you think of what? What do you think?
Top 2 greatest big men ever. One of the nicest gentlemen ever. I learned from him. He made me realize I was a spoiled brat and I was complaining. What I mean by that, when I first met Bill Russell, high, jovial, giggly, and he started telling me stories I had no idea of, like couldn't stay in the same hotel with your teammates and people throwing things at you and death threats and this and that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop complaining, because it was for guys like him and Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem. They paved the way for me. Barkley, those guys, Magic, they paved the way for me to make a lot of money. So, by listening to all the stories that Mr. Bill Russell told me, I just said, stop complaining. Stop complaining about anything. Don't say nothing. You make a good living because of what all these people had to go through. And he was the first legendary big man that was nice to me. Huh. Like, Kareem didn't say much. Wilt didn't say much. And then when I met Mr. Russell, it was a hug and sit down and I did this and I did that and I like this and I like that. He was the nicest guy I've ever met in my life, really.
So we're seeing, I guess, at an award show of Bill Russell at the microphone, and there you are, flanked by what looks like David Robinson, and was that Zoe, Mutombo, and Kareem on the stage, and there you are. And he was a funny guy too, Bill Russell, right? Shaq?
He was funny. The photograph you're speaking of, I think that was at the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And, to have him at our Hall of Fame, it was like wow. Because Dr. J was my guy, and he was the only one I really paid attention to. But when I started getting taller, my father pulled me outside one day, and he just kept mentioning 3 names every time I went outside. Man, you need to play defense like Bill Russell. You need to get a, unstoppable move like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You need to be the most powerful big guy like Wilt Chamberlain. I just kept hearing those names, and then when I finally decided to do my own research, I was like, oh, I wish I could be as good as these guys. Like when you're a kid and you're okay, and, you look at the guys that are at the apex of their career, and you realize you're not even close, sometimes it gets you a little discouraged. I was like, I don't know, Dad. I don't think I could be as good as these guys. But then when I was coming in, I was starting to gain confidence, and I made a call one day. I told my agent, Leonard Armano, I said, hey, I want to do a commercial where all the greatest big men are inside this plasmic portal thing, because I want to let the world know I'm coming. And what I'm coming for, I want to be recognized as them when I'm done playing. So he made the call to all the greats, and they all accepted. I was like, oh, my God. And I got to meet the greatest big guys ever in one day on a commercial shoot. That was a Don't Fake the Funk on a Nasty Dunk commercial shoot. Kareem was there, Wilt was there, Bill Russell was there, Bill Walton was there, and the legendary John Wooden was also there. That was like one of my greatest days. But Mr. Russell, he will definitely be missed. You are correct. He was a funny guy. He was a nice guy, and he just told me so many stories, and he's definitely going to be missed.
The great Shaquille O'Neal here on the Rich Eisen Show. When you said you stopped complaining and you realized that you were spoiled when you talked to Bill Russell and you heard about all the moments he had to deal with, racism and hatred being thrown at him, even in his own home when people broke in when he was gone out of the city that he brought so many championships to. Did he, when he was talking to you about his experiences, did he tell you, hey, you're complaining too much, or you just gleaned that on your own?
I just realized it. Look, a lot of times you can see the title of a book. Oh, he's a great player, best player ever. But then when you open the book, you're like, oh my God, he had to go through all this. So this is like the first time I met him. He was sitting down. I think he was at the Four Seasons. He was just drinking water, and he was just telling me stories. I didn't get to tell a word out. He was just. And, he was happily telling me these stories, but I'm like, damn, y'all didn't travel private? Damn, you didn't get to stay in the hotel? Like me, every hotel I went to, I had to have the biggest suite, Rich. Yes. It's just how it was. And he was like, man, we had to stay at other hotels, and we couldn't drink water out the water fountain. And I actually felt bad And these guys are the greatest players ever. They didn't even make 1/4 of the money that we made. So I decided to myself, okay, I'm going to stop complaining, and I'm going to play hard for these guys. I'm going to let them know, thank you, I appreciate you, and, whatever you need. So nobody had to tell me. I was smart enough and conscious enough to realize that, hey, you're a spoiled brat. You're not even that good yet. You get swept every year in the playoffs. Shut your face up, pick your game up, and start winning championships.
Shaquille O'Neal here on the Rich Eisen Show. So when was the last time you saw Bill Russell? Shaq, remember?
I know it was. I want to say the All-Star game, but I'm not sure.
Could have been the 75th anniversary moment. Is what you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
And I imagine him walking in the room would be similar. At the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I've gotten to see how the players, new Hall of Famers and also older Hall of Famers, certainly the running backs, felt when Jim Brown walked in the room. It was
right.
It was Mr. Brown, that this is the GOAT. Everybody was deferential to him on the spot. I imagine it's the same thing with big men and Russell as well.
It is.
In those things.
And I get tickled when people say, rate the best big men in the game. I will never be as good as the top 3. I'm close. Will never be as good. Bill has 11 championships. Kareem has 6. Wilt was the most dominant player ever. I'm happy with the fact that I can be mentioned in the same breath. Because you know why I'm happy? Because at 19 years old, a drill sergeant took me on the basketball court and said, you can be exactly like those 3 guys. And I believed them, and I listened to them, and it's here. So it doesn't matter to me, Shaq, you're the best big man ever. As long as I'm mentioned with those guys, trust me, I'm more than happy. And Bill Russell and Wilt and Kareem, greatest big guys ever in the history. There will never be anybody as close to them. Especially, the way the game has evolved now. There'll never be another trio like that.
No, I know. I probably know the answer to it, but I'll ask it anyway. Do you think the association, do you think the NBA should retire number 6 forevermore, similar to the way that baseball retired 42?
I would say yes, and Adam Silver is a fine gentleman. I know he's going to do the right thing, but that's a good recommendation, Rich, and I think you should put that out. But I would say, yeah, retire it. No more 6s.
Yeah, that everyone who wears it now gets to wear it for the rest of their career. LeBron being the perfect example of that right here in Los Angeles. And then when everyone else is done with 6, that's it. We put the banner in the rafters everywhere. Every arena in the NBA, Bill Russell's 6 hangs. I think that should be great.
You should open up Rich Eisen Law Firms. That was a very nice loophole that you just threw in there for your guy LeBron. Great job, Rich. Great job.
Yes, my guy LeBron. That's how I refer to him all the time. Well, I mean, just he's the most famous number 6. That's why I threw it out there.
No, he is. But I like that loophole. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Shaquille O'Neal with the check mark right there here on the Rich Eisen Show.